I'm so ashamed of being a Ugandan today because of this woman, though I no longer live there. Now, this is the judge, the Ugandan judge, Julia Sebutinde, who ruled against each provision at the ICJ yesterday. She ruled against everything. She does not see anything going on wrong in Gaza. She doesn't see anything bad happening there. She doesn't want humanitarian aid to go there. She does not want the genocide to stop. She does not want the bombing to stop. She does not want the ceasefire. She does not want anything. She wants them to remain the way they are. Uganda, those of you who don't know Uganda is an East African country ruled over by a dictator who has been in power for over 35 years. He's kept in power by the British and the US government. Now I think you get the picture, right? Why she's doing all this shit. It is one of the most corrupt countries in Africa, if not on this planet. Because recently I've heard people saying Ukraine is more corrupt. Uganda has the most corrupt people, so she can't be exception. Because you cannot tell me that she's blind, deaf, and dumb, that you cannot see or hear or understand anything wrong with what is happening in Palestine. You cannot. In Uganda, we have a saying to our leaders that applies to our leaders that goes like, for God and my stomach. But for her, in this case, this does not apply to her even, because it's not even for God. It is for her and her stomach. Because in the provisions, you'll see that there were votes where there was two against, right? It was her and the judge of the I Nation. Let's not forget that there is a judge of the I Nation also sitting on this panel of the ICJ. Let's not forget that. Now, where there was two against, it was her and the judge from the I Nation. Then there were provisions where there was one against, it was her. Even the judge from the I Nation also sees that there is something wrong with what is going on in Gaza and it should stop. For her, she does not see shit. She does not see anything. How shameless. How shameless. Even the judge from the I Nation voted for her, she voted against. The only black woman, the only black African woman in this court, and she votes against South Africa. Black African woman against black African country. Wow. 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 This woman or this judge does not represent Ugandans. She's there for her and her stomach. She's corrupt as shit. You cannot tell me that she's the only judge on this panel that does not see anything wrong with what is happening to the people of Palestine. Uganda. Let's not forget, by the way, let's not forget that she's the same judge who ruled against the genocide in Congo. This very woman also ruled against the genocide in Congo. Not forgetting that the Ugandan army is the army that is causing all this genocide. It is training the rebels there in Congo. It is guarding these people that are using kids and whatever. It is them. To go to those rebels, you have to go through the Ugandan army. That's why they were thrown out. They went there to keep peace and they started doing the opposite. But she doesn't see all of that. She does not see the genocide going on in Congo. She does not see. But let me tell you something. If you live in US, if you live in Canada, if you live in Australia, if you live in Netherlands, if you live in Switzerland, if you have seen Ugandans protesting in front of the United Nations in New York, you have seen demonstrating that the US government should stop funding the dictator in Uganda, You know, you've seen these demonstrations. This dictator does the same thing. That's why for us Ugandans, like, anyway, for me, I'm no longer living there, but for us, we know we can see through a dictatorship, you know. So you've seen these people demonstrating that the US government should stop. In Britain, you've seen Ugandans there demonstrating that the US government should stop funding a man who's committing genocide against Ugandans. In Uganda, there is an ethnic cleansing, a systematic one. There is, I don't know, there is a lot of shit happening in Uganda. Uganda is a very rich mineral country. We have oil, we have deposits of gold worth trillions. We have a lot of rare earth minerals. But we are not even a third world country. Why? Corruption. So what did you expect her? What were you for us? We were not, me as a Ugandan, I was not surprised. I know other people were, because they were saying the only black woman here and from Africa should be supporting South Africa. But since she's blind, deaf, and dumb, she doesn't hear or see shit, so she doesn't know what is actually happening in the whole world. So, plus the corruption, plus the dictator being the one who endorsed her to be here, you cannot tell me that you don't see shit, even when the Israeli judge sees something. So, that's for me what I can say for this lady. She's against everything. She's against Africa. She's against humanity. That's what I can tell you. She is an animal sitting there. When you see this lady sitting here, do not see her as an African. This is the British government and the US government sitting right there, because the dictator who endorsed her to be there is kept in power by the British and the US government. So they are serving them. I think we are now on the same page. However, she does not speak for Ugandans. Just like you see, the US government does not speak for the American people. The British government does not speak for. She does not represent Ugandans. Period.